record button. Bam. Recording. My man.
Awesome.
So good to meet you, man.
How you doing, man?
You know.
Well, sort of in person. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Like we've talked and all that shit, but actually seeing each other, man, it's cool, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you reaching out. I think this stuff is so important to do, and I'm glad you did, man. I'm so glad to be here, and this is awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I did my intro earlier, but for everybody else, would you like to introduce yourself? Give them a background of who you are. Anything about yourself before we start.
Geez. I'm sure that's going to be the least interesting part of the whole thing, but my name's Bill. With my podcast is called Flawcast CLE, representing Cleveland, and it's not as bad as people think it is. But our podcast is like a weird mixture of politics, history, spirituality. Kind of common sense things. I'd say pro-Americana, but I don't want to get you kicked off of YouTube. And
yeah. It happens all the time, all the goddamn time.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun with them also. But we're just my partner Carl and I, who are doing the podcast. We just feel like we have a duty and a responsibility to maybe not tell people what to think, but at least give people the tools and ingredients that they can think on their own. Actually, just recently, this year in June, wrote my first book. Here it is, Shameless Self-Promotion, Smith's Heart of Man Repair Manual.
Oh, there we go. Is it a hard copy? Can we see it a little more?
Well, actually, yeah. So here's the paperback.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, it's it took me 5 years to write this. I can get into a little bit about it, but how that all came about. But basically, it's a book that has a bunch of different qualities that men specifically, I think, have kind of forgotten about and let fall to the wayside. And it's not like a misogynistic or chauvinistic book at all. It's just kind of a reminder that, and how I word this is that when it comes to our society, men have always been the forebears and the stewards of morality, of righteousness, of integrity, the first and only line of defense in most cases. And men have been cucked and called and become feckless in regards to our society. So this is just a book that's calling to guys to awaken that primal, that savage, that gentlemanly essence of who we were created by the Almighty to be. So I think I emailed you a copy, I think, but here it is, Smith's Heart of Man Repair Manual. You can get it on Amazon, wherever. Appreciate it. But yeah, that's all the plugging I can do. So
it's awesome. It's awesome. I love the design and everything. Is that a heart? A heart?
Yeah, it's actually a heart. Yeah, I did all this. I front and back, a picture of yours truly. But yeah, I did.
And you got the Flawcast logo on the back too.
Yeah, we got everything. Yeah, and this is so the whole. So I'll tell you the story if you care to know. I don't know what the programming is, but like I'm a huge music guy, which you could probably see some of my records and CDs and stuff behind me. But I was a music journalist for about 8 years, and I befriended and worked with like most of my heroes in the music genre. And one of them being Ryan Caraba from Dashboard Confessionals. And they have a song called I'm kind of an emo guy. I mean, most people wouldn't know that.
No, it's cool, man. Hey, that's why I got this tatted on my face. I see music. I've had a giant musical background. So I completely relate to you. And the emo genre, I think, is starting to come back. I've been noticing trends on TikTok where people are trying to bring it back, especially with the hairs and all that stuff.
I used to have hair, but anyway, but I know Dashboard has a new album coming out in February. And but I love whatever he does, but nonetheless, they have a song called Vindicated. And so, he goes, I am flawed, but I'm clean. And it was weird. I was literally praying one day and I just felt like God really spoke to my heart, the idea about being flawed, and how, you know, like you're going to hear a lot about this, but my spiritual acuity is whatever. But, you know, I believe in God. I believe in Christ. You know, I guess you can say I'm a Christian. And the idea of being flawed, you know, a lot of Christians or churchgoers, there's this holier than thou thing. And for me, it's like, I know I'm a mess up, which is the whole reason I need God. So the idea of flawed, absolutely. Yeah. So the idea of flawed ink, flawed cast is just an acknowledgement like, yeah, I'm a mess up. Like literally, like the more you get to know me, I'm just a big screw up. I'm flawed. But it's through that being flawed that who, you know, the Almighty made me to be, I think hopefully can come through and do stuff like this and just, you know, try to be light and salt in like a super dark world. And like even today, before you were getting on here, I was just scrolling through my news feed and I'm like, oh man, okay. So I can't look at this right now. I gotta shift gears. So I'm talking to Khan, but anyway, brother, I'm just thankful to be here with you. So, and I love the backdrop. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's why. Remember, I was saying I wish I had my phone because I'm sitting down right now, and I don't like doing podcasts sitting down. I like standing. But yeah, I can't see it all the way. But yeah.
Well, for those that know, they know. So
yeah, the great American flag. Yes.
Yeah. Stars and bars, brother.
And so now on some other stuff, I really wanted to talk to you about what did you think about the Kamala Harris and Charlemagne interaction? Like, because that was she straight up scolded him and said, "Don't you talk like a Republican. Don't start talking like a Republican, questioning." And that's what she said. Don't start talking and like a Republican, questioning if Joe Biden is president. So they don't even want you questioning anything. Just shut up, sit down, and shh. That's it.
So,
so you saw the interview, right?
I didn't see the interview. I read articles about it. I know what you're speaking about. I didn't see the whole thing, but I'll say this first off. Like anybody who knows Charlemagne, who I've been listening to for years, just because like being a fan of music, like hip hop is a passion of mine, even though I'm like a chubby white dude from the Midwest.
Hey, but Charlemagne, he'll call out anybody.
Well, that's the thing. And where I want to come from is I'm nonpartisan. Like it's even funny today. I had somebody from the NRC call me and I'm like, listen, because I think I gave money to like Trump a couple years ago, who I'm like, anyway, you know, I'm like, listen, I'm not going to support your platform. I'm not going to support your party. You're completely feckless. You're absolutely not standing up for the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and the citizenry who have put you in place as our elected representatives. And I think so many people forget the fact that the American experiment in governmentation is that there's no big me. You know, we can look at all over the world, Australia, the UK, wherever, and we know that there's this parliamentary system that's in place. We're the boss, and people forget that. We have a government of, by, and for the people. I really think that people need to reconnect with the founding documents, and I think we can hit on that in a minute. But to go back to your question, for me, all that is divide and conquer politics, and it's this identity politics. But I also see it as that side, if you will, is starting to eat their own.
Yeah.
But no matter what, it's a distraction.
Yeah. And the only thing I found that was interesting is she pointed her finger and she said, "Don't you start talking like a Republican, asking a question if Joe Biden is president." Because we all, you know what? Look, in my opinion, I
don't want you to get kicked off, brother, but I think we know what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, like, you know what? I don't think there's somebody else that's fucking doing shit.
Well, let me pose something to you and your audience. Just think about this for a second. And this might be a long way around to tell a short story, but whatever. Look at the Ghislaine Maxwell case. Now we know that originally Epstein was promoted and postured as the shot caller, right? But as we are now finding out, she was really, the person pulling the strings, if you will. So it's this idea that and I know how this is going to sound, especially because I just told you about a book I wrote about men. I know it's going to sound chauvinistic and misogynistic, but when I wrote this book, I did a lot of studying on psychology, the psyche of men and people in general. There is something inherent with the human species that when you see a woman, there's an automatic, you're more demure. They're more demure. There's this motherly instinct that, especially as men, we who are real men, who are chivalrous, want to show respect. So there isn't, like, if a dude walked up, like if a dude said that to Charlemagne, he'd put him on blast.
Right.
But because it was a woman, right? The same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's this paradigm that's shifting, and I think, once again, it's another divide and conquer. It's identity politics. Ultimately, politics is downstream from pop culture, but what we see, I think there's a lot of telling. If you look at what was said, if you look at what was implied, that and Kamala Harris is just the most rancid, despicable human being, I think, walking the planet right now. Willie Brown isn't even endorsing her. And I think about that, but I don't know. What are your thoughts, brother?
I mean, for Ghislaine Maxwell, I think gasoline or
nice.
whatever.
Nice.
Gasoline, yeah.
Whatever.
She's just a giant pot of gasoline that's about to set on fire, and everyone keeps saying, "Oh, what's his fucking name? Jeffrey Epstein hung himself." No, the fuck he didn't. Oh, and the cameras just so happen to not be working for like the most important fucking case. Wow.
Yeah, James Comey and all that.
Yeah. And so like her case, and I find it funny that it's all sketched out. Like she apparently didn't kill anybody, but she sex trafficked. She dolled up children and all that shit to send them over to the office the island and all that crap. And it's all sketched out. I don't get that. And Kyle Rittenhouse, oh, that shit was everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. Kyle Rittenhouse, he's a white supremacist, hate all white people. Had nothing to do with BLM. All it had to he was attacking the BLM movement from I'm not even going to call it protesting. Just fucking rioting. Let's call it what it was. It was not
rioting, looting.
It was rioting. It was, here's a free door that's wide open. Go ahead. You deserve it. And this fool went to go and protect private business owners. I mean, if I had let's just say I had a fucking ice cream shop, right? And I worked my ass off, paid like $100,000 just to get this fucking structure up and all that crap. Of course, I'm gonna be devastated if just a bunch of idiots decide to burn it down because they're trying to talk about some dude that had a gun to some pregnant woman's stomach. You know what I mean?
I personally have more than a handful of friends that have been so financially, emotionally, spiritually, and even in regards to substance abuse and controlling addictive behaviors and personalities that have been so impacted by what's happened. We're moving into the third year of all this. It breaks my heart, but it also infuriates me that the general public isn't more in arms. And let me just state this. My policy, my heroes have always been like, obviously Christ, but Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, Malcolm X, but a lot of these, they all learned a lesson from Christ in regards to peaceful protest. My contention, I may have shared this with you before when we were talking, my contention is, we have the First Amendment. We need to use it now because if things go sideways, if they go kinetic, the second makes everything so much more complicated. But I also tell people, hey, and this is why my hat's off to you, for our podcast, our slogan is get in the arena. which, you know, Teddy Roosevelt is my favorite president, and he has that man in the arena speech, and that's where we get that from. But if you aren't using the First Amendment now, if you aren't speaking, if you aren't contacting your elected representatives, if you are not free to worship whatever God, you know, the flying spaghetti monster, whatever, but if you aren't petitioning your government for grievances, if you aren't utilizing the idea of free speech and speaking out about things that concern you, and what I tell people when they give me this dick measuring saber rattling stuff is, you're not going to step up to the plate with the second. So that's why I was so excited when you reached out to me, because you're actually making a difference. You're actually in the arena. Because think about it. If you're so intimidated to speak up now because you're going to get banned on Facebook, you're going to get banned on YouTube or whatever, like when things escalate, everything escalates. And it's just a natural progression of how those work.
And exactly what you just said. And I don't think we're speaking on anything that'll trigger an algorithm or anything. I shouldn't even use the word algorithm, because that might trigger the word algorithm.
But well, that'll be it. That'll be
I'll be so pissed. Like, fuck this shit. But like I straight up I tell it to some of my close friends. I have very few. I have a very small circle. Yeah. But I just say it like stand up and just say what the fuck you want to say. That's it. Just say what you want to say.
Yeah.
Stop being, everyone's like offended if you assume somebody's gender, or if you say you're not against, or you say you're against vaccination, you're against the mask. Oh, because I already know, like what you just said, I am going to get shut down. I am going to also be targeted because of what Apple, Facebook, Google, YouTube, Twitter, and I unfortunately use all those apps. And the only reason I do is because that's the only way to really promote yourself, unless you got the finances. I mean, look at Trump. Can't even get his own conservative podcast, or not podcast, his
platform,
own platform.
Social media,
and they shut his shit the fuck down.
While he was sitting as the president, they shut him. And you know, you bring up a really valid point, and I already know that people are going to start throwing shade at what I'm about to say, but Alex Jones is one of my heroes. And
I love Alex Jones,
And we see what they've done to him, and what they're trying to do to him as an archetypal kind of a thing, where it's like guys like you and I'm very calculated in what I do in my life. And what I mean, and not in a manipulative way, I have this ability, I think, to kind of see 3 or 4 moves down like a chess game. I already know what speaking on my podcast is going to cost, what it is going to cost me. You, and I just know this from kind of speaking to you off camera or whatever, I already know that you know, because what it's going to cost you. Here's the thing, and I really want people to get this, and this is something we've been hammering in on our podcast lately. And people believe what they want, right? I'm not going to fault anybody for believing something that I don't. But I want people to just sit back and think about what has happened, why things are being portrayed the way they are. Like, for example, oh, you're anti-vax. Well, no, I'm actually pro and choice in regards to my health care. You know, oh, you're anti-mask. No, I want not autonomy to make my own decisions. I'm a grown adult. I have a good mind that works. I do the research. So they try to position people as you're against this, you're against this. And that's a paradigm I think like people like us need to start combating with shifting. No, I am not anti anything. I am for free choice. I am for free speech.
Yeah, exactly. Free choice. Like, look, you want to wear a fucking mask? Wear a goddamn mask. You want to go
be my guest?
15 shots of God knows what's in it? Go ahead. I'm not going to look at you and be like, oh, well, fuck this fool.
Right.
No. No, I know people that are vaccinated, and I just I look at him. We talk shit to each other, because
Right,
but because he's like, oh well, oh, you're gonna die. I'm like, that's cool. I'm gonna die, and your
You're
ass
gonna
is gonna
die
be a
anyway.
zombie in like
Yeah.
2025, and I'm gonna have to be.
Well,
right
see,
at
and that's the thing of it. And I want to be careful how I word this, because I want people to hear this. I think we're making some valid points. The research is showing the adverse effects. I think, and I'm not a doctor, don't even play one on TV, but I think if you want to do something, go ahead. I have tattoos. I wouldn't tell anybody just to go get a tattoo, just to get a tattoo. If it means something to you, if it's important, then by all means go do it, right? I literally don't care. I have two hard lines. The first one is abortion, and the second one is all this pedophile garbage we see.
God.
And then
Dude, have you heard about the maps?
let's talk about that in a moment.
Like,
but
fuck.
no, I know.
Dude,
well,
I heard about the
even
maps,
see it,
man.
dude. Even in the last week and a half, CNN is coming out like producer after producer, Chris Como, all this stuff. But nonetheless, it's this paradigm shift. It's like with Charlemagne and Kamala Harris. You know damn well as I do, they're on the same team, probably playing for the same, the same puppet master or whatever. It's all a lens. It's all perception. And I think the sooner that we can start to see that, the sooner we can unify. And honestly, people are always talking about diversity. Yeah, diversity is great. I'm Italian and German. I don't know what you are. And I don't care. You're a cool dude. I'm glad that we're friends. We keep celebrating our diversity, but what we need to do is come together in what unifies us. You're an American. I'm an American. We love freedom, God and country and all that stuff. And those are more broader and significant terms than heritage and nationality and things like that. And it's this paradigm that I believe we really need to. I don't even consider myself a conservative, but if you want to call it the conservative, libertarian, whatever movement you want to call it, those who loathe evil, right? Because it's coming down to good or evil, light or dark, righteousness, unrighteousness. That's lowest common denominator for me. I think those who love good and want to be on that side of history, we need to start to celebrate what unifies us. Exactly that. And, there's a verse in the Bible, it says a kingdom divided against itself cannot stand. So what we're talking about, whether it be Kamala Harris, the vaccines, this, and this, it's framed to divide us, which in that case, as a divided people, we are going to fail. We are absolutely going to fail. That's why we need to start to come together. You and I talking is a step in the right direction to bring unity, to bring knowledge. Another verse in the Bible, I even told you this, it's Hosea 8:7. It says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge, right? They want to suppress all this knowledge. And I tell people, if I can figure this out, anybody can figure this out. I'm not like this, intellectual giant. I'm just not drinking the Kool-Aid.
Right,
so,
right.
Sorry, I went off.
No. It's great. No. I understand what you're saying, and like you and I taking this step forward because, as I said in one of my other podcasts, I posted. Well, I posted it on Twitter today, but I did it a few days ago. It's just like more people need to stand up, and I don't feel that there is enough of people like us because they're scared of the repercussions. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna lose your fucking job. You're gonna lose this or that, or they're gonna triage you in the medical hospital and all that shit, or whatever it is. And I also fear, because I'm a parent, so I also fear, like, now her ass is 6 years old, so she's supposed to, in their world, she's supposed to be getting vaccinated because she's eligible. But if she's not, then the state comes in, and that's where DPSS comes in and says, oh, well, you're putting your child in danger. So we have the right to take her from you. So go on, let her out the door. And that's where the Mossberg comes in, and might as well just, I mean, but that's. I mean, look at what's happening in Australia already. Nobody wants to.
Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Sweden, France.
Yeah,
it's not an isolated case, right?
Nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to say it's not going to happen here. Bullshit. Look what's happening. Walk into a fucking grocery store without a mask. Sir, put on your mask. Go eat at Applebee's in a mall. Meanwhile, you can walk around the whole time. But the second you sit down at Applebee's, no, show your card. Are you vaccinated? Yeah. We don't like your kind around here.
Well, I mean, and I think, you know, one of the arguments we get a lot, because when I use history in regards to our podcast, for me, history is nothing but secular, right? History always repeats itself. And I'm sorry, I had this conversation with someone who listened the other day, and we were making the analogy in one of our recent podcasts in regards to the vaccine passports and mandates and the Star of David that Jewish people had to wear during the 30s and 40s in Poland and Europe. And, you know, they said, how can you make that analogy that, you know, that's not kind of like you're saying, that's not going to happen here. And I said, you know what? The people back then didn't think it was going to happen there until they turned the furnaces on, and the charred remains of burnt flesh of humans were floating through the air like snow. And there's, you know, in Schindler's List, you know, and I'm not trying to be gross, but
no,
it's that scene in
it's truth.
This is a historical fact. There's that scene even in Steven Spielberg in Schindler's List, how, you know, they thought it was snowing, but it was flesh. It was burnt, charred flesh. It's not going to be as overt, but it's going to be, we're going to start seeing ADE more rapidly. You know, I listen to guys like Mike Adams, the health ranger, who has a lot of credentials to me, making these forecasts. And could it be wrong? Yeah, sure. But my gut tells me it isn't. My gut tells me that freedom lost is never freedom given back. It's freedom taken back. This year for vacation, I went to Williamsburg in Virginia, and went to Yorktown, where the deciding battle of the Revolutionary War was fought. And Patrick Henry is my favorite founding father. I know not what course most men might take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Right. And I'm walking. My fiance and I were walking through the field. We're looking at everything, and I was overwhelmed with this idea that what these men gave their life, liberty, and sacred honor for is alive and well. And if we don't use the tools they put in place, once again, the First Amendment, right? Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to peacefully protest, freedom to petition your government with grievances. If we don't utilize those now, we are not, I say this, America's that last flicker of hope and freedom in the world that's trying to snuff it out. And once that goes out, it gets really dark. And I don't want to be that guy. You know, I got a lot to look forward to right now in my life. But if I don't have freedom, if I don't have autonomy over my own body, if you don't, the decision that you have to be forced to make with your child is nothing that any parent should have to be forced to make. That's why you see a lot of people standing up right now. My encouragement to people is wake up. If you don't think it's going to happen, look around, because it's not going to happen. It is happening. And what I would say to you is, what are you going to do if we are able to fight back this tide of tyranny? And generations from now, your grandchildren say, hey, grandma, grandpa, what did you do while an evil like we've never seen on the face of the earth before reared its head? Well, I drank beer and I watched football.
Drink beer, watch football. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not belittling that. You know, my buddies and I were tomorrow night, we're going to go grab a cigar and hang out. That's one of my favorite vices. I love grabbing a cigar.
No, but you're right though. Like, I just sat back and just chilled. I didn't do shit.
while the charred remains of human flesh are flowing out of the sky.
Yeah, I was just taking shots, watching golf or football or whatever it was, and didn't even do anything. And that's why like I get a lot of shit for not being politically correct, and I don't give a fuck. If I see Caitlyn Jenner, I'm gonna call his ass a motherfucking dude. I don't give a shit. He's got a dick. He's a dude. So I don't care. And that's freedom of speech. If people have a problem with it, what are they going to do? Cancel me? Kevin Hart's dream was to host the Oscars, and he made homophobic jokes on Twitter. I mean, that's what he's a comedian. That's what they do.
Like
they
10 years prior.
Yeah. So like, it's like, fuck it. Say what the hell you want. Stop being afraid of being canceled by some green-haired lesbian saying like whatever the fuck she's saying. Like, stop even caring. But I do think that freedom of speech is that's borderline 60% gone.
I won't argue that.
Because I mean, think about it. You and I post shit up on social media. Gone. Nope, it violated our terms for hateful speech. All I said was I don't agree with the coronavirus. But that's misinformation. Go into Twitter jail.
Case in point, Gina Carano. I mean, she literally just posted something, a historical fact about, once again, making a comparison with the Nazis and kind of where we're at. Not only was she, deplatformed at that time, she lost her job, she lost her income. Now, guys like Ben Shapiro, who honestly I don't care for at all, but good on him. He stepped up and has given her another opportunity. I made the decision a long time ago when I started doing what I'm doing that I'm not Patrick Henry. I'm not George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Samuel Adams. I'm not Malcolm X. I'm not Martin Luther King Jr., Gandhi, and I'm sure not Jesus. But I'm me, and I'm who God made me to be. And I don't want to meet him because I know I'm going to have a lot to atone for. But I don't want to meet him and have him say to me, Bill, I gave you a purview and I gave you a voice and a platform to help people, and you didn't do that. And I don't, no matter what the cost. And I know how that sounds. Like, if it costs my job, if it costs relationships, which it already has, I can't go against my conscience. I can't do that. And if it costs me my life, okay, because I understand that this life is a comma, it's not a period. And maybe people don't share that purview. Okay. But that's where I'm at. And I just want to say that this country was so great. And it's so horrible now that people all over the world are still trying to risk their life to get here. And I hope that if I can say anything encouraging, not just to people listening, but to you, Khan, is that you have to keep fighting that good fight, because there's nobody else to do it right now. And it's our duty, our freedom, like the Goonies, like our time is now. We have to do this because no one else is going to, and you were talking about Australia and New Zealand, these other countries, they're begging Americans to step up and not to surrender, not to give up their freedoms. And we're not giving them up, we're handing them over. A lot of us are, but I'm sorry, dude.
No. It's true. I mean, there are people that are die hard on the left. I mean, I'm in California, unfortunately. I fucking hate it. I want to move at least to Texas as quick as I fucking can. California is the most retarded liberal state in the fucking world. People really vow to Fauci and wearing the muzzle and shit like that. Like, you got to wear the muzzle, you got to wear the mask and all that shit. Like, it's so divided that way. It's like now, like I know you've seen some of my podcasts. I say the mask is just a fucking symbol. That's all it is.
100%.
Like, if I see somebody wearing, there was one time I saw a bitch driving a car by herself with 2 masks and a face shield and her windows rolled up by herself. I'm like, yeah, she voted for Biden. That is for sure.
And you know what? And God, I would say this: we can joke about it, but God bless her, do it.
But you're doing that. The reason,
you know what I mean? Like, you're not hurting anybody doing that. You look stupid as the day is long, but it's like, I'm going to take the science and the research that I've found and realize that the masks don't help. You're 100% right. They're a symbol of acquiescence. And they're to me, you know, with all this facial recognition software, the 5G, everything out there, I literally think like maybe guys like you and I are like, hey, that dude isn't going to wear it. He's not going to comply. And I know Ohio has been, I can't stand our governor. He's a Republican, but in name only. But
oh, that's right. You're in Cleveland, right?
Yeah. Yep. Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah. Okay.
But
you get snow out there?
You know what? Oddly enough, I love global warming because it's been like in the 50s and 60s. No, seriously, not to get off on a tangent, but my buddy and I, we decided we're going to have a global warming appreciation day, and we're going to give everybody plastic cards that don't decompose, and it'll say happy. It'll say happy global warming day. And when you open the card, like CO2 will be like carbon will be released into the air because it's been in the 50s and 60s. Just my dog was walking me the other day, and I was normally it's like balls cold like this time of year. It's like minus it could be, but it was like 50 degrees the other day. I'm walking with my hoodie and just having a great time. And so yeah, but it's normally it's cold as balls, but nonetheless, my point being is that lady in the car, okay, hey, if that's what you want to do to feel safe, then all right, I'm not going to hate on you, but leave me alone.
Right.
I just want,
and that's why, like, normally, like, before all this COVID crap happened, I would see somebody wearing a mask. Like, most likely, it was normally Asians that would be doing it that I would see. Like they knew some shit way before we fucking did.
Well, hey,
they were
ahead
of they were ahead of the game on that one. Fucking, but I wouldn't fucking really trip on it. I'd look at it like, oh, nice, okay,
right.
But now it's like a thing of, okay, that's a person. The same way they look at me. If they see me in the store, they know, this fool ain't complying. He's against us.
Yeah.
He is against us. Same damn thing. So the mask is a symbol. That's all it is. They get enough people, and now they don't even need. That's why it's not a law. It's just a mandate and a store policy to wear a fucking mask because they're going to let us citizens go against each other.
Yeah.
About the mask.
Yeah.
And the vax. And let me see all 8 of your shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like,
yeah, you know, I don't want to get too weird, so stop me for real if this is what I'm about to say, but
no, you good, man. This is a raw, uncut, uncensored.
All right, so I'm gonna
podcast.
I'm gonna say some things that may be controversial, and this is my purview. This is my particular belief set, but you know, look in the history of the world. Like, you've never seen mankind unified against one or for one thing like you're seeing with the reaction and the steps in regards to COVID. Whether it be the masks, whether it be the vaccines, whether it be the passports, whether it be the lockdowns, whatever, by and large, it seems as if a lot of people are going for it. My purview and what I want to warn people about, the episode that actually is coming out this week, our podcast, we're talking about like Elon Musk, Neuralink, the singularity, transhumanism, these technological ideas that are being used and presented much like 15 days to flatten the curve. They're being introduced like all great tyrannies in an effort to help mankind. But what I believe it personally really is, it's to get us under this, same with 5G, this mass surveillance grid. And if you look what's being promoted right now with the idea, if you don't have your vaccines, if you don't have the second, third rounds of boosters right now, you can't enter places like, you know, like in New York, New York City is completely locked down. Bill de Blasio is like, put him up there with Mussolini, if you will. But the
Cuomo too, man. Load his ass up in there.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm half Italian, so I can say this, but never mind. I'm getting off points. Nonetheless. So what we're seeing is this technological, this governmental, this medical, this economical systems that are all coming together and being united for one singular purpose, which is, in my regard, this globalist, this is what I say in our podcast, this globalist Luciferian eugenics-based death cult, right? This all is a culmination, especially when you hear verbiage of like, if you don't have this passport, which are now being digitally implanted in a microchip, you can't buy, sell, or trade. It goes back to this idea in Revelation 13. Once again, this is where it's getting weird, where the same verbiage that these people are using is the same verbiage that you find in the scriptures that was written thousands of years ago. What I would ask, is that a coincidence? I don't know. I don't think so. My faith isn't that great. What I will say is this: if nothing else, you need to at least stop and think, because if these people unified globally with different kind of governmental systems, capitalist systems, communist, socialist, you know, whatever, there's a unification globally that we're moving towards this. And whether it's the singularity, whether I call it the unification of the Antichrist spirit under this globalist mindset, the idea that we're moving into this time that the ancient texts of the scriptures have foretold, really, I think people need to really just stop and be like, wait a second, this is really, really eerie. Like, and once again, I'm not trying to proselytize. I just want people to think. I just want people to use their cognitive ability, their spiritual acuity to look at what's going on and say something isn't kosher. What's going on? And make your own decisions. And once you make your decisions, stand firm in that. And obviously you have strong opinions. I have strong opinions, and a lot of our opinions align. And I'm sure we have some that don't. But it's like everybody is tuning into this frequency on the radio. And instead of say, hey, I don't really like this song, or I don't get this song, let's see what else is out there. Everyone's like, no, I don't like this song. It's not really that good. But everyone else is saying it's so good, and we're being bombarded with this. I'm not going to change the station because I don't want to be that guy. You know, like,
to go outside the line, like, oh, why are you weird? You're weird,
right?
Or shit like that, like,
right. And even saying what I'm saying right now in regards to the context of the scripture, frankly, I don't care. Think what you want to think about me. People are going to anyway, but I just want to bring things to people's attention. Think about it, you know? So once again, I don't mean to be offensive, other than to provoke thought. So,
right. Well, you definitely ain't offensive to me. And
well, good, brother.
So most of my subscribers, I'm sure they probably ain't tripping either. And if anybody else has an issue with it, hey, well, maybe it's probably triggering something on them to kind of go on our side. So, because like what you said, you're not trying to be prophetic?
Proselytize. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell anybody my belief system, but just think about it.
You know, like one of my pastors always says, he doesn't say, "Are you Christian?" He says, "Are you Christ-like?" Which goes way different than saying, because anybody could be like, "Yeah, I'm Christian,"
right?
But are you Christ-like,
dude? Come on, that's a good word.
Yeah. So, and his name is Xavier Reese. I'm gonna give him a shout out. Xavier Reese at Calvary Chapel, Pasadena.
Hey, come on, Pastor,
California.
Hit us up.
Yeah, I definitely want to try to get his ass on too. And he definitely. One thing I like about him is he doesn't sugarcoat shit. This is the first pastor I've found that talks and sounds kind of like he's not as vulgar as I am, but he'll say shit like you'd be like, I've never heard a pastor say that. And like he'll say, if you're over here running around talking about race and black and white, you should be slapped. That's what he'll say. Like, there's one race. It's called the human race.
Well, you know, even if you want to break it down even further than that, you know, in the Gospels, Jesus, only time he ever distinguished against people or people groups was the wheat and the chaff, the good fish and the bad fish, the sheep and the goats. And they were all analogies of things that were usable for productive and righteous reasons, and things that were usable for destructive and unrighteous reasons. It had nothing to do with, oh, this dude's black, this dude's white, this lady's Asian, this lady's Hispanic, you know, nothing, it had nothing to do with that. And that's where, like, even like with going back to kind of what we said at the beginning in regards to like Charlemagne, in regards to Kamala Harris, it's divide and conquer politics. And if we give into that, if we keep saying what we are against and not saying what we're for, if we aren't celebrating those things that unify us, not divide us, we are going to lose worse than we're losing now. So there has to be a paradigm shift from, hey, you know, I'm against this, I'm against this. No, I'm for this. I'm for life. I'm for preserving innocence. That's why I don't really care for, and this is a hard thing, but like all this pedophile stuff, like, you know, you're talking about the Epstein and the Maxwell, like, honestly.
Well, the maps.
Yeah.
The maps. When I heard about the maps, man, I was like, maps? You got to be fucking kidding me, man. I see this shit on TikTok and Instagram all the fucking time. Maps? You're really giving a... Okay, so there's like 50 fucking thousand genders and sexualities and stuff like this, pansexual, and now there's maps. Like, what? Maps? Maps. That, especially me as a parent, yeah, that irritates me a bit. And they got this bald-headed weirdo explaining it, of why it should be acceptable to be a map. Man. Whew. I mean, see, this is where I think everything just got out of control. People are talking about genders and this, that, whatever the fuck it is, right wing, left wing, whatever it is. And everybody says it's all because of Trump. You know what? And I'm going to go on a little vent tangent right now, too.
Do it, brother.
All of this that is happening right now that everybody is experiencing, podcasts, videos, music videos, fucking books, songs, whatever the fuck it is all because of Trump. None of this shit, it did exist, but nowhere near the caliber since 2016, because what Trump did is he grabbed the fucking hornet nest, shook that motherfucker up, and said, be free. Now everybody's pissed off, like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh, that's how you really are. That's how you really are. Fuck you, fuck you. Now, everybody's tripping. And everybody is taking sides on this shit. That's my opinion on that shit.
I see, I even think I'm having different thoughts about Trump these days. I don't, I say this respectfully. He's probably the best president I've ever seen in my lifetime. I personally don't believe we're going to get to the midterms next year before. No, I mean,
World War III.
I don't even think it's going to be that. You know, I can just tell you this, that back in October 2019, through my time in prayer and just meditation, all that, I just really felt like God was saying, you need to prepare yourself. And then all this stuff happened, and that sensation has never left. And now where we're at is intensified. And I'm starting to feel like what is going to happen is going to be a culmination of everything that we are seeing, because effectively this I'm gonna, that side, that light and dark, that dark is losing. If all things were even, if the playing field was squared off and that there was an even playing field, that side is having its ass handed to it. However, they have some things that we don't have. They have the foresight, they have the ability to be patient, they have the ability to be thoughtful about what they're going to do, and they also have the ability to throw everything at people and cause mass confusion. For me, I just say this. Right now, I tell people, get right with God, read the Constitution. Literally, read the Constitution. If you don't know what your rights are, you're not going to know when they're taken from you. I tell people right now, make preparations. I think on a national level, and we're already starting to see that, like, for example, one thing about me, I'm legally blind. Like, I don't drive. So I have my groceries delivered. And even today, I had my groceries delivered earlier today. And more than a quarter of the things that I ordered, they had to be refunded or replaced because they didn't have it. Look at the shelves. They're bare. Look at what happened in Texas earlier this year where, they tried to move towards this green energy and the Department of Energy wouldn't allow the state of Texas to increase their electric consumption. So people died. They literally froze to death and died. That was at the hands of the government. What I see is like a perfect storm of different health issues, different, like a clampdown on energy. And even there was just a vote this last weekend about completely eviscerating the fossil fuel industry in America that luckily was staved off by one vote. But I'm just thinking, anyway, we're looking at right now just a perfect storm of all these things happening. And then one of the greatest predictors in history is that if you look across the globe, America's always 6 months to a year behind what happened. So I hate to say this, but what's happening in Australia, what's happening in Sweden and Germany, they're putting hard dates on people having vaccinations. And if you want to get vaxxed, God bless you, but I want autonomy in my body. And we're moving in this direction where there's this perfect storm of things going to happen. It's going to start hitting one after another. It's going to cause more confusion, and they're going to blame this, they're going to blame that. And we're going to come to a point where our sovereignty is gone and taken under the guise of peace, under the guise of public health, under the guise of green energy, under the guise of this and this. And it's going to be a martial law state. And there goes America.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I already think it's going to end up happening with straight up. You ever see the movie Songbird?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I believe it's called Songbird, and it has to do with a pandemic and all this shit. And he's talking to his girlfriend through like the door and shit, and she's not allowed to go out, but he is. But like Songbird in the trailer of that, like he's driving down the street on his motorcycle. There's nobody out, and all the camps are out there, and they just go over to him with M16s or whatever, and he's like, no, I'm immune. In other words, vaccinated. I seriously think that that's going to end up happening, starting from the freedom of speech. There will be a battle, I think, with the Second Amendment, because although there are many of us that are strapped, locked, and loaded and ready to go, they have the capability to just wipe that out real quick. So then what's next? Like, and this is what I also wanted to ask you is, what do you think about America? Not I won't say America. What do you think about Biden giving us up voluntarily to China and Russia? Because that is a big fucking situation about giving us up. And like, remember we were talking on the phone, they have shit on Biden. Nobody wants to talk about Hunter doing crack and being butt naked with prostitutes But if that was Trump's son, oh my God, that would be hell frozen over. Everyone would be freaking out.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to talk about it. So Putin and Xi have shit that'll fucking blow shit out of the water. So this fool's just going to bow down, let his crackheaded son sell $50,000 pictures. And, and just give us up.
I think a couple different things. I think first and foremost, and I'm no Russophile or anything, but I want to believe that, especially when I listen to him speak, that Putin isn't as bad. No, Putin. When I listen to Putin speak.
Oh, when you hear Putin.
Yeah, I don't believe he's as villainous as people want Americans to believe he is. I'm not a Russophile. I'm not defending him or any of their policies. Once again, I think it's how they're presenting things. I'll say this in addition to that. It's interesting the study of eschatology is a study of end times, right? So we're talking about previously how the mark of the beast and all this stuff. There's two big things that is referred to in the scriptures in regards to what good is battling. And it's this idea of the dragon and the idea of a beast. And if you look at China's symbol, they're like, we're the bald eagle. China's symbol is a dragon, and Russia's like the bear, it's just an interesting juxtaposition. I'm just going to leave that there. People make whatever analogy they want. It's just how my mind works. But yeah, Biden's absolutely corrupt. We know, son of a bitch, the guy, the Ukraine scandal that once again, who's talking about it? I mean, so obviously, yeah, as far as China, we have America. I believe this, in order for things to happen the way that once again, the globalist Luciferian eugenic space death cult wants to happen, America has to be, if not eliminated, it has to be diminished to a point where not going to be able to make a viable defense of ourselves. And I believe that's what's happening. We have our economy imploding. Inflation's the highest it's ever been. We got a guy in the Oval Office that really shouldn't be, and I'm going to leave it there for YouTube. A guy who is verifiably the least popular president on both sides of the aisle ever, even less popular than Jimmy Carter. We have an invasion on our borders, right? We have divisive. It's a perfect storm, once again, of everything going on. I think, to quote Hillary Clinton, her comment about, these predators being made to heal. I think right now America is being made to heal. And I think that in regards to China, not only will we not, but I don't think we can not even fight them, but it's all, they're in the Cold War is all about posturing. It was basically the two toughest kids on the neighborhood talking shit about one another, right? It's like, who's going to punch first? Right now, right now, we don't even America can't even form a fist. We don't even know how that is. We don't know how to throw a punch, even if it is defensively. So
my favorite quote from the movie Pearl Harbor, and my favorite quote was, he said, "We're building refrigerators while our enemies are building bombs." I think that China is this is the time to attack. A smart enemy hits you where you think you're safest. Well, everybody's worried about LGBTQZWF, WTF, whatever it is, and all this stuff. And Biden, he spoke. He said hi. Oh my God, he actually said hi. He didn't fall down the stairs today. Yay.
He didn't fall up the stairs.
He didn't, he didn't poop himself when he met
the Pope, yeah,
counselor or
the Pope.
Yeah. Like, oh my God, China and Putin. I think this is their time to attack. And I hate to fucking say that. I hate to fucking say that.
No, they are, but it's not a shot won't be fired. I'm at least not on American soil. I'm right now.
Not yet.
Yes.
But what I think is they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Yeah. When you saw Biden do the live conference or the virtual conference with Putin, and he just says, "Hello, hi, hey," and Putin's just sitting there laughing like, "Yeah, I can see you, fool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bomb you in like 10 seconds." They said, did Biden? They asked Jan Psaki, did Biden? Did he stick it strong to them? Psaki was like, "Yeah, he stuck it strong to them." No, he fucking didn't. He's like, Putin's looking at him like, "Motherfucker, I will bomb the fuck out of you right now. Shut up."
Yeah, and
they're gonna get Ukraine. China's gonna get fucking Taiwan, and that's gonna project our shit. But I doubt we're even gonna do anything because that's gonna cause war and all that shit. My phone's going off too. Is your phone going off?
Yeah. Oh, it's just I got like 18 alarms every day. Mind me to do stupid stuff.
Oh no, it's cool. No, I put an alarm too because it's 5:45 right now.
Yeah, I got 8:45.